Welcome to the Purpose Driven Mom Show, episode 485. We're going to talk about what to do when your schedule is feeling too full and you want to simplify, but you don't want to miss out on things. Show notes are going to be at purposedrivenmom.com/podcast 485. And before we get started, I'm recording this coming off a week and a half of feeling sick. I lost my voice, so I'm sounding a bit nasally, but the show must go on here. And I needed to get this episode up and running. So we're going to talk about it, which actually it's the perfect time. Coming off illness is one of those times where I feel like we're like, oh my gosh, I'm so behind. I have so much to get done. I need to get the basics done, but I'm not sure how to do it. So I think these tips will help. So if you've ever felt that way, where you're like, your schedule is this never ending to-do list. We literally just talked about this yesterday on a coaching call for the Purpose Driven Mom Club, which make sure you head over to purposedrivenmom.com/club, depending on when this is going to air. I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it's November. You can get on the wait list because we'll be opening doors soon for our very final cohort of the year. But we just talked about this in a coaching call on how you have to shift your mindset when it comes to tasks that are cyclical and that never end. Because once you can wrap your head around the fact that your to-do list is never actually going to end, but you can still make progress, that's when the light bulbs go off. That's when the guilt leaves. That's when the shame leaves, right? So if you felt like that, where you're like, this to-do list is longer than a CVS receipt. I don't know what to take off my plate. I feel like if I take anything off my plate, everything's going to fall apart. People are going to be disappointed with me. We're going to have the FOMO and miss out. Today's episode's for you, okay? I understand what this feels like. Hitting that back to school grind again, getting back into back to school routines always feels like this for me, where I'm trying to get everything back on track after a very nice, relaxed summer. I want to take things off my plate, but everything feels urgent, right? But I just want to send you this reminder, especially, like I said, I think this is mid to late November that this episode will air. So we're like thick in holiday season, all the events, all the things happening. But just remind you, a full calendar does not mean a full life. It just literally means you have more things written down, okay? It is possible to simplify without missing out on what's actually important. So as you're going into the holiday season, as you're thinking about the things that you would like to focus on, you don't have to miss out. You can just take a breath and make those priorities. So why does it happen? We go on this cycle. I leave the summer. I'm feeling great. I'm motivated. I'm like, this was nice. I loved relaxing. I'm so excited to put less on my plate. And then stuff starts coming and stuff starts coming. And then we say yes. And then we say no. And then the plate is getting fuller and fuller, right? We overcommit for a few reasons. And maybe you've been there. So while I'm talking them through, if one of them is you, call yourself out a little bit, right? The mom guilt. If I say no, I will be letting someone down. Now, I'm recording this early October. So we're in my holiday planning series that just ended. I had come up with a list of things I needed to decide this week. So this first week, I'm like, let me decide on these things so I can start planning ahead. And I need to decide on things like, are we going to do a Friendsgiving? Are we going to go to the pumpkin patch? Like, friends, Aldi has pumpkins for $5. Like, that is worth it to me to take those home and paint them or carve them or have that memory instead of standing out at the pumpkin patch with a million people. Now, maybe you like that. Don't listen to me then. Go do what you like. I would rather do the stuff at home, have a movie night, do crafts with my kids, than spend a gajillion dollars and literally spend the entire day at an activity. But I always have the guilty feeling, right? It pops on in. Everybody else is taking their kids to a pumpkin patch. I should take my kids to the pumpkin patch. We should, right? If you've been here for a while, you know the saying, stop shoulding on yourself. And when you start saying the word should a lot, pause and ask yourself, whose voice is this really? The guilt of my kids are going to be disappointed comes from external pressure for me. I want my kids to have the same experiences as other people, right? It's also that pressure to do it all. Right now, we want to take our kids to all the events. There are so many things, and I'm realizing too how many things are in our area. I work for a company called Macaroni Kid as a side job, and I write I have a website where we keep events and activities of things that are happening in the area. If you live in Northeast Philly, just head over to Macaroni Kid Northeast Philly. Just search it. It's the first thing that comes up. That's my website. Now that I'm seeing more and more things pop up, I'm like, there's just so many things you could possibly do, right? I don't love to do double dipped activities. I'm like, let's do one thing a week. And we're about to head in for us for cheer comp season where things are just going to get busier and busier. But we have this pressure that we have to do everything because of whatever that voice in your head is saying. There's also this fear of missing out. And I'm going to tell you a situation that I'm still like internally struggling with that's happened in real time for us. So we don't want to miss out on our own things. We don't want our kids to miss out. This is the big one for me. I don't want my kids to miss out on stuff. But at the same time, jamming their schedule is not good for them either. It leads not only us driving and chauffeuring to burnout, but them. They need downtime. That's when we've lightened our activity load, September and October, and going into November. It's so nice. We have less things to do. We have more time at home because my kids were transitioning out of the summer into the school year. They needed more of a break. They needed to be able to have, we call them nothing days. My daughter just wants to sit and read her book. Like, can I get an email? I'm like, that's what the other day she was like, Mom, can we just sit in the bed and read books together, but like not the same book and just read together? And I said, I'd love, yes, please. It was amazing. It was so fun. They need that all. But we overpack our schedules and theirs. Okay. My daughter is in the orchestra. She is in the fourth grade. And so she was in beginner strings last year. She was moved up to advanced strings, I think all the fourth graders. And then there's like an elite next year or towards the end of this year you can get chosen for. I've talked to the orchestra teacher. She's pretty good. He's like, I'd like to move her up to elite at some point this year. I'm like, awesome, dope. But here's our issue. She has cheer on Thursday nights. Any of the orchestra outside of school rehearsals, like they do it during the school day, are Thursday nights. And so I had to have this conversation with her of, you might not be able to miss cheer. Competitive cheer is not one of those sports that you can miss. If one girl in my daughter's stunt group, my daughter flies, she can't fly, right? Like if one of the girls isn't there, they can't all practice. And so it's really important that you don't miss anything. And so I've said to her, if you're going to do cheer, we have to say no to other things. So she had to miss out on a birthday party a couple weeks ago. And this with orchestra. So I said, listen, I will talk to your teacher and let him know we can try to get one of the days off. Like we were able, the day of the actual concert is like the day, it's like after comp season and the cheer practice is really just going to be like a light practice and a party. So I was like, so you'll have to miss that, but you can go to the concert. But if he says if you can't go to any rehearsals, he might say you can't be in the orchestra. Do you understand that? And she said, yes. So I had a conversation with him and he was like, you know what? She has to go to at least one of the four or whatever. So I talked to the coaches. We were able to get one excused. Again, I feel a little bit guilty because I'm like, I know that's going to impact the team, but we were able to get an excuse. So it did work out. Now here's a situation where it didn't. She wants to be in like a robotics, which is like, she's been asking for years. My daughter wants to be a computer engineer. She likes to design. She likes to make video games. Like that's her wheelhouse. She's 9, right? So she's not like 18, but it's a thing she likes to do. So she's been asking since first grade, as soon as I'm in fourth grade, I want to do robotics. Okay, cool. Well, similar situation, right? We got the dates and it was mandatory that you have to go to the robotics competitions. These are the dates. They overlapped with cheer. And so I said, I will talk to the teacher, but it really isn't fair. Like it isn't fair to the other kids on your team, cheer or robotics. Like you might have to miss out on something. And so that was the conversation we had. And it didn't work out like it did with orchestra, where the guy was like, all right, it's cool. She doesn't go to, all of them. She was like, yeah, sorry, that's a non-negotiable. Like you have to be able to make these events. And I was like, okay, thank you. She's mad. And we had to talk about it. I was like, she's like, well, Mom didn't sign me up. That was the language. And I was like, let's talk about this. This does not fit with your current priorities. And I said, listen, now that you know more things are happening as you're getting older, if you want to do these other things, maybe next year you don't do cheer so you have more flexibility. And she's like, no, cheer is my number one. Like I want to do it. And I said, okay, well, you have to make that decision. Now we have acquaintances that we know that their kids are in like a gajillion activities. They're doing 4 activities a day and all those things. And maybe that works for them. But I know for my kids and for most, your kids need a little break. And I think when we can teach our kids these things of you don't have to do it all. You don't have to be in every activity. And it's not bad to let them be disappointed sometimes. Did it hurt my mom's heart? Yes. And still, this just happened like last week. So am I still like, did I make the wrong choice? Like, is there a way we could have made it work? Yes. But I think this was the right, like I'm like 80-20 right now, that it was the right decision to make. And then 20% of me, it's not that I think it's the wrong decision. 20% of me is that guilt that like, oh, I didn't want to stuff our schedule. It really was impossible to go. Did I make the wrong thing? But here's the thing. When your schedule is too full like that, we're tired, they're tired, it's cranky, everybody's in a bad mood, and it's not setting them up for success. It's setting them up, honestly, to live in this world where they think like they can just burn out. And it's interesting because I have a kid in college right now. He's figuring out freshman year and he's getting super involved. And I talked to him the other day and he said, I didn't get that involved in high school. Like, I didn't think it was cool to be involved. So now, like, I'm having a really good time getting involved in like student government. He's on the step team for his dorm, like all those sort of things. He's like, but I'm just like, I'm getting tired. And I'm like, try to explain to him, right? But we can't teach, the only way we can teach our kids not to like caught in that burnout cycle is by showing them. And I know that I don't think I did the best job leading up to that, showing him because it was always like I did a lot of things and tried to manage it all. So now he has to learn that lesson on his own. So for my littles, I'm like, well, how can we talk it through now? How can we make it so that it works? So what do you do? What do you do when you're like, I have all these things to do. I have all these things I want to do. We've got those two lists, and I have these goals I want to work on. But like the time isn't there. And like that's the other thing you have to identify. Our schedules get overstuffed because we literally do not have the hours and the time in our schedules to put all the things we want to do. The math does not always math, but we don't want to accept that. We want to think that we can make it fit. And here's the thing, I'm the time management lady. I love time management. I can probably look at your schedule and help you find more ways to be more efficient with your time. 100% so that you can fit in the things that matter the most. But I can't help you fit everything in. I can help you fit what matters the most. So as you're going into the next 6 to 8 weeks of the year, I want you to really pick those non-negotiables versus nice to haves. Again, things I'd like to do, things I need to get done. Because sometimes our to-do list, like it just has to happen, right? We have to get the things done, but some of them are extra. It's October. I'm doing a couple trunk retreats. I've signed up for 2 right now, and I'm about to sign up for a third. I need to ask myself, is the third going to burn me out? Is it like one of them is for my macaroni kid business, one of them is for the school, and the third one would be a mix. It's at our church, but it's in my macaroni kid area, so it'd be like business, right? Do I need to do all of those? I don't know. I still need to sit and think, all right? Not everything will fit in right now, and that's okay. And we had another conversation on our coaching call this week about like getting to the end of the year and our goals and how it's like you really want to cross some things off, but the time's ticking and your vision board and your goal list isn't getting checked off. So it's deciding what are the things that actually matter that you get done. Maybe look back at the goals that you set for the year and ask yourself, if there was one I would like to sprint on for the next 6 weeks, what would it be? And let the others kind of fade to the back, right? If you have like, I want to learn how to crochet. That is my goal. That is my sprint for the end of the year. I will freaking learn how to do it because I want to go into comp season knowing how to crochet so I can make some stuff while I'm sitting there, or whatever. Ask yourself when things go to your list, not just your to-do list, but your goals list. Does this align, right, with what is the most important to me right now? And if I say yes to this, what am I saying no to? And I think that's really important. Like I mentioned, I'm going through my list of holiday events and I'm asking myself, what can I take off? So my example of this was I wrote on my decide list for this week, Friendsgiving. I was like, I'd like to do something with my friends and the kids. It'd be fun to get together. I'm in a season of my life where I don't spend a lot of time. Like we don't spend a lot of time with like friends. I have a book club I see once a month. I have 3 really good friends. We actually meet up every Wednesday night. So I do see them on Wednesday nights. I also see them like almost every day at school. But my one friend, her husband works overnight, so she can't leave. So we, 6 months ago maybe, started Wednesday night TV night. So we'll like go to her house at like 8:30, stay till like 10:30, 11:30, and just like watch TV and catch up. It's so fun. It's really enjoyable. Would I like to still like go out with my husband? We have some couple friends. Like we would like to spend time together. We'd like to spend time together with our like there's so many people and things I want to spend time with, but I just don't always have the space for it. And I think that's important to decide. So the Friendsgiving thing was on my list. And I was like, oh, that would be so fun to do like a big Friendsgiving thing. And I came to the decision yesterday when I was going through my list, like I'm not going to host. If someone wants to have a Friendsgiving, and it's a day that I have free on my calendar, I will attend and I will bring a dish. But I'm not going to host. I'm not going to push it. I'm not going to get it on my calendar. I used to be the one to always organize the events. Like I would organize everything and it's exhausting. And so I've just made the decision that it's like, well, this is a nice to have. My priorities are that I have more downtime at home. Because right now, like I mentioned, I started a second business. So I'm trying to work APDM stuff, macaroni kid stuff at the same time. I'm trying to also like just enjoy time with my family and do fall stuff with my family. So other things that are not hitting those goals of working on my business and time with my family, like if I don't get to do them, I don't get to do them, right? As we get into the holiday season, like I want to take my kids snow tubing and ice skating and to this holiday, there's just too much. So again, you can say yes, but when you're going through your list, ask yourself, if I say yes to this, what do I have to say no to? All right, so how are we going to do it? How are we going to simplify your schedule so that you can get the tasks done, the goals done, and all that. Okay. Number one, theming or focus days. Last week in the Purpose Driven Mom Club, I taught on our Friday call about admin time, and this is going to be key. Batching your admin tasks together will help you feel like you're not juggling so many things. So as you're making your schedule for the next 6 weeks, what I want you to do is I want you to put on there one time block a week, 1 hour, 3 hour, whatever you have, once a week at least, where you're like, that's where I'm going to work on my holiday tasks. Okay, so definitely do holidays. This way, when holiday tasks pop up, you don't have to stop and drop, go get them, right? You can say, all right, this is what I'm doing my holiday tasks. I'm going to go get it. I also want you to have one that's for your personal goals, right? Just call it goals block. And during that block, once a week is when you're going to work on your goals. So that way you're not feeling like, oh, I didn't get any time on this. I know I'm going to get to it another time. Put in your other theme, your other focus days. We talked, like I mentioned, about admin stuff, filling out the paperwork. Like my kids came home with the trunk or treat papers, the boograms, and there was a third paper they had. Like I need to sit and fill them out, but I can wait. And on Fridays, when it's my admin time, we can go through all those things. By creating focus days, what you're going to do is going to help you simplify your schedule and feel less scattered because you're not running all over the place, right? I also recommend you schedule in some buffer and white space. So when you're looking at your schedule for the upcoming week, give yourself one block. When I say block, I mean a 2 to 4 hour chunk where you don't schedule anything. If you cannot do that, you and me right now, if you're on YouTube, I'm looking at you, real talk. You have too much on your plate. If you cannot look at an entire week and say, I cannot find 2 hours. So wait, let me math that real quick. So I don't know what 24 times 7 is off the top of my head. I'm going to hold on. So 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I know we're sleeping, whatever. That's 168 hours that you have. What? 8 times 7, 56 minus 56 of sleeping. Okay. You have 112 hours to work to get all the things done. If 2 of those hours can't go to nothing, you have too many things on your plate and you're going to need to take something off. So I really want you to look at it and ask yourself, can I do that? Now, when those 2 hours come up, say you're like Saturday mornings, I don't have anything, or Saturdays after sports, like 12 to 2, gonna do nothing. If you want to go read your book, if you want to go relax, if you want to watch a show, if you want to take a nap, do it. If you want to work on a goal, a work thing, whatever, do it. But that's your choice time. What you're not doing is you're not giving yourself choice time to breathe. You're putting too many things in. And if you're not sure, do a time inventory. Go through the days, write all of those things down. I also want you to have family check-in times once a week with the calendar. We always do this Sundays while we're driving to church. I will look at the calendar for the week and we'll kind of read through it and talk to it. And I'll be like, all right, my husband needs to drive here. I'm driving here. What this is going to do is help everybody get aligned of what's going on and make your schedule so much more simple because you're not going to be like, oh, it's Monday. What are we doing today? I'm going to say, oh, you have practice these days. Today, pull out your uniform and put it here, right? We're going to get it done. I also want to recommend you eliminate or delegate, like I mentioned, cross some things off. Not every task needs to be yours. So as we get into the holiday planning, the holiday shopping, you don't need to buy all the gifts. Like I say to my husband, like he buys his parents Christmas gifts. I used to do it. I'm like, you do it. I will take, my kids go to the secret shop at school. So I volunteer there and I'll help them pick out gifts for the grandparents and stuff. But a gift from me and him to his parents, I'm like, that's you. Like, I don't need to be doing those things. He can handle that. You are allowed to delegate some things, right? And I also know that because things are going to get busy, and I'm sure one of your goals is probably family time, connection, etc. I want you to look at micro moments instead of needing these huge grand plans. Maybe you don't have time, like I don't in my schedule, or I don't want to craft out half a day to go to the pumpkin patch or whatever. We literally drove to Aldi last night before dinner, and then after dinner, we took an hour and the kids painted their own pumpkins, right? It was a micro moment. Let that be enough, okay? You don't need to clear like your whole calendar, but take a couple things off so that you can breathe and really tune in on that buffering, okay? Now, it's going to feel uncomfortable for you to take some things off your calendar. You're going to say, oh, look, I have these 2 hours. I immediately need to fill them up. It's normal. It's because your body is so used to fight or flight when it comes to your productivity. You have trained your brain that you must be frantic. You have trained your brain that scattered is the only way to feel. So when you give yourself some space to simplify your schedule and you're doing less, you're going to feel uncomfortable and you're not going to like it. Sit in that, okay? And reframe the missing out, okay? There's a book by Tanya Dalton. It's called The Joy of Missing Out. So if you've never read it, I highly recommend it. Maybe I'll put that on my list to reread. I read it a few years ago. We had her on the podcast. Choosing less is not missing out. It's making space for what you would like to do. There are some things that I say no to, and it feels so good to not have the pressure. And like, again, as we're going to do with holiday stuff, some stuff's fun, right? There's a trip for Girl Scouts they're doing to Broadway. They're going to go see Aladdin. I really want to go. Financially, we just couldn't swing it. And I was like going back and forth, and I'm like, could we make this work? Could we figure it out? And I was like, you know what? It's okay. We're permitted to miss this thing. I can take them another time. I'm trying, and I want to save that money because I'm trying to get her tickets for her birthday to go see Hamilton. I would rather spend the tickets to go do that and then take the train and like etc. than stress out about feeling like she has to be at an event, right? Remind yourself, like, I can say no to my kids. Maybe we don't do everything, right? Again, my daughter was mad at me when I did not sign her up for Lego. And we're still having those teachable conversations about how I wanted to sign you up. I talked to you. It's not possible. And for a lot, and it's not like I'm trying to break her spirit. I'm not trying to be like, I want you to know that life sucks and then you die. Like, blah, blah, blah. Like that's not how we act, right? But you need to be realistic. You need to set yourself up to realistic of like, you choose priorities. So when I'm actually, while I feel guilty, and this is me talking to myself now, what I'm actually doing is I'm teaching her how to prioritize. I wish I had learned that lesson at 10. I wish someone had helped me with that because I hit burnout a few times in my life because I wasn't able to prioritize, right? Being intentional is about choosing what matters the most to you. Even if this friend is doing this and this friend is doing that, sometimes we just can't swing it, all right? It's really important that we teach and train up our kids that way. So what I want you to do is look at your schedule for the week. Take one thing off, okay? Let it go, bless and release, delegate it, eliminate it. I also want you to go through your schedule and I want you to pick your blocks for the week. One, those buffer margins, right? The others, one for holiday planning, one for personal goals, and whatever else is important to you. I would suggest admin. I have a home block like 3 times a week, whatever you need. And then communicate that with your family. Maybe go through with them, make the bucket list. Hey, what do you want to do for the holidays? We can do 6 of these 45 things that are on these big bucket lists. Which one do you want to focus on? And then if you get to more, you get to more. Okay? Remember, it's not about feeling like you're not doing enough. It's about crafting life for your family. And here's just like my bonus tip today is get off social media. So I've been off social media now. When I'm recording this, it's been 2 weeks, 6 weeks for TikTok. I took it off my phone 6 weeks ago, kept spoiling my big brother. So I said bye. And then I've been off Instagram and Facebook off my phone. Now I keep Facebook on my computer because I need it for work. But it's no fun to scroll. And I had to do it for a few reasons. One was I was just tied to my phone. The other was I was like feeling angry about how people as humans, us flawed people were acting. It was making me feel really resentful towards like hateful. Like I was like, I cannot stand people. Like I was getting disgusted by how people were acting and like it was making me mad and jaded. And the other is I was comparing it. I was getting stuck on like, oh, these people do this with their kids. And if we had more money, we would do this. And if I had more time, I'd do this. And if I didn't have to work at it, and I'm off. And I always say to my husband, I'd be a much better mom if I wasn't on social media because I wouldn't be thinking about what other people are doing and putting it into my list. I would just be focusing on my family. So if you're struggling with the comparing because you see other people doing things, take it off. I'm telling you, it's been 2 weeks. I don't know if I'll stick with it. Last night, I was very tempted to install an app on my phone because I just wanted to scroll before bed and I did not. It's hard. It's been a hard transition, but it's so nice. Like, honestly, it's really freeing. And I don't have that many notifications anyway. So I said to myself, why not just live in the life that I have instead of watching other people's lives? You know what I'm saying? Mic drop. Show notes for today are going to be at appropriatemom.com/podcast 45. Thank you for dealing with my stuffiness. But I really wanted to get this episode recorded this week because that was based on my schedule so I can batch and enjoy my holidays off. Have a wonderful day and we'll talk soon.